Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Your past does not define your future. This is not just a comforting phrase. It's a truth that can change the entire course of your life if you embrace it deeply. Too often, people drag the weight of past mistakes, broken dreams, and painful experiences into every new opportunity, every relationship, every day they live. They live in a prison with invisible bars built from regret, shame, or guilt. But the truth is, the past is nothing more than memory. It has no power unless you continue to feed it with your attention, your energy, and your belief that it still matters more than the present moment. Every person has a history. Everyone has done things they wish they could change. Everyone has said words they regret, made decisions they wish they hadn't, trusted the wrong people, or failed at something they truly cared about. But the most successful, resilient, and fulfilled people in this world are not those who avoided mistakes. They're the ones who refused to be defined by them. They learned, they adapted, they took responsibility and moved forward. That is the key. They didn't let their past become their identity. When you carry the belief that your past equals your future, you limit yourself to a story that no longer serves you. You unconsciously sabotage your growth because you're acting out a version of yourself that no longer exists. You tell yourself, I always mess things up, or people always leave me, or I'm not smart enough, strong enough, worthy enough. These stories may have been shaped by real events, but that doesn't mean they need to continue being your reality. The moment you stop feeding them, they lose their power. The moment you say, that was a chapter, not the whole book, you begin to reclaim your story. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become. No matter how dark your past may have been, it does not prevent you from creating light in your future. The world is filled with people who hit rock bottom and then rose again. People who were broken, bankrupt, abandoned, addicted, or lost. But they made a choice. They chose to believe in something more, even if they couldn't see it clearly yet. They chose to believe that tomorrow could be different if they changed how they thought, what they did, and what they believed about themselves. This mindset shift is not instant. It requires awareness. It requires courage to confront the parts of your past that still hurt and to say, you do not own me anymore. It requires you to look in the mirror and stop seeing the version of yourself that others labeled or limited. It requires you to find strength even when the evidence of your life tells you you're weak. That strength begins by realizing that every day you wake up, you have the power to choose. You can choose to live from your wounds, or you can choose to live from your wisdom. You can choose to stay stuck, or you can choose to move. You are the author now. You hold the pen. The earlier chapters may have been written with pain, with loss, with doubt, but the next chapter can be written with clarity, vision, purpose, and hope. You don't have to erase the past to write something new. You just have to stop letting it decide where you're going. Let it teach you, let it humble you, but don't let it stop you. People will try to remind you of who you used to be. Don't let their memory chain you to a version of yourself that no longer exists. You have changed. You are growing. And even if no one else can see it yet, you must keep walking in the direction of who you want to become. The past may have shaped your pain, but it does not get to shape your potential unless you allow it to. The most powerful words you can say to yourself are, that was then, and this is now. Everything can begin again in that moment, not because time erased the past, but because you decided to stop living in it. The future belongs to those who believe that they can create it, regardless of what's behind them. And you can. Starting over is a decision, not a circumstance. Too many people wait for some magical sign from the world, some perfect alignment of events, or for all the fear and uncertainty to vanish before they act. But that moment never comes. The truth is, no one hands you a clean slate. You create it by deciding that today, this hour, this moment, you are no longer going to be defined by what has been. You are going to be shaped by what can be. Waiting keeps you trapped. Deciding sets you free. People often confuse decisions with feelings. They say they're not ready to change because they don't feel ready, but feelings are fleeting. They rise and fall like the wind. If you wait until you feel brave, you'll never act. But when you make a decision, a real one, everything changes. A true decision cuts off all other possibilities. It says, this is the direction I'm going, and I will find a way no matter what. Doesn't matter how small your first step is. What matters is that you step, because momentum is born from motion, not motivation. When you decide to start a new life, you're not just choosing different circumstances, you're choosing to become someone new. And that scares people because it requires leaving behind old identities, old relationships, old habits that once felt safe. But what once felt safe may now be your cage. Real growth means facing the unknown and choosing to walk into it anyway. Decision requires responsibility. It means owning your future instead of blaming your past. It means saying, even if the world around me doesn't change right away, I will. You don't need permission. You don't need applause. You don't need everyone to understand or support you. In fact, many won't. People fear your change because it forces them to look at their own comfort zones. But your life is yours, and no one else has the right to decide when or how you start again. That power lives within you. If you've been through pain, if you've made mistakes, if you've lost your way, so you are still allowed to start over. And that decision is available to you right now. Letting go is one of the hardest and most powerful acts a person can do. We cling to things, memories, relationships, habits, identities, not because they still serve us, but because they're familiar. There's a strange kind of comfort in the known, even when it hurts us. Letting go isn't about pretending it didn't happen. It's about refusing to let it keep happening to you through your own mind. The longer you carry pain that no longer belongs in your story, the heavier your soul becomes. And life is not meant to be lived in chains. Letting go is an act of courage. It says, I'm choosing freedom over familiarity. It's not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. Every time your mind tries to pull you back into regret or anger or sorrow, you meet it with, that no longer belongs to me. This is how you reclaim your power, because what you carry shapes how you walk, and you cannot move forward while dragging the weight of everything behind you. Sometimes we hold on to things because we believe that without them, we'll have nothing. But the truth is, by holding on, you often block what's meant for you. New doors can't open if you're clinging to old ones with bleeding hands. Whether it's the approval of someone who never saw your worth, a mistake you made that still haunts you, or an identity built on survival, there comes a moment when you must choose your future over your familiarity. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying. It means you stop bleeding over things that no longer exist. You free your hands to build something new. You free your heart to love again. You free your mind to dream again. And when you do that, when you truly release the things that keep you stuck, you don't just create space for healing, you create space for becoming. Starting a new life doesn't happen in the absence of fear. It happens when you walk forward despite it. And that walk begins with two things: the decision to begin and the strength to let go. These are not things you wait for. These are choices you make. And those choices are what shape everything that comes next. Use your past as a lesson, not a limitation. Life will not spare anyone from pain, disappointment, or failure. These experiences are inevitable, but how you interpret them is what defines your path forward. Many people walk through life with invisible chains around their potential, chains made of shame, guilt, heartbreak, or defeat. Instead of learning from what they went through, they let it become a wall between who they were and who they could be. But the past is not meant to trap you, it's meant to teach you. Every scar tells a story, but it's up to you whether that story is one of defeat or of strength. There is wisdom buried in every mistake, but you only access it when you stop blaming yourself and start listening to the lesson. You weren't born knowing how to handle every challenge. You had to experience pain to understand compassion. You had to fall to learn how to rise. You had to lose something to realize what really matters. The past only limits you when you avoid it, deny it, or let it define your worth. But when you look back with the eyes of a learner instead of a victim, everything changes. You stop seeing failure as the end and start seeing it as the foundation of your growth. People often carry the past like a curse, whispering to themselves, I should have known better, I always mess things up. But those thoughts are not truth. They're echoes of moments you haven't healed from. The truth is, you did the best you could with who you were and what you knew. And now you know more. You've grown. You've seen the cost of staying stuck, and you've felt the hunger for something better. That hunger is not weakness. It's the beginning of transformation. The past doesn't get to decide who you are. It's just one part of your story. The most important part is what you do now. Too often, people let their past experiences build walls around their heart, their goals, and their identity. If they were betrayed, they stop trusting. If they failed, they stop trying. If they were hurt, they stop loving. But every time you let pain dictate your future, you're giving away your power. The lesson of pain is not to shut down. It's to become more aware, more intentional, more resilient. Wisdom doesn't come from hiding. It comes from reflecting, from asking, what did I learn about myself? What will I do differently next time? Those questions open the door to growth. Your past is a teacher, not a judge. It's not here to punish you. It's here to show you what matters. Every wrong turn revealed something about your values, your strength, or your boundaries. Every heartbreak showed you how deeply you can feel. Every failure reminded you that effort matters more than outcome. The lesson isn't always easy to see, but it's there. And the moment you decide to find it, you begin to turn your wounds into wisdom. That's the moment you stop carrying the past as a weight and start using it as a compass. Life is never about perfection. It's about progression. And progression means making mistakes, learning, adjusting, and continuing to move forward. If you look closely, you'll realize that some of your strongest qualities were born from your hardest moments. Maybe it was in the silence of heartbreak that you discovered your inner voice. Maybe it was in the darkness of loss that you found your deepest light. Maybe it was in being abandoned that you learned how to stand alone. These aren't limitations. They're lessons carved into the core of who you are. You cannot rewrite what happened, but you can rewrite how you carry it. You can choose to extract the wisdom and leave the weight. You can choose to let your past remind you of your strength, not your weakness. That shift changes everything. Because the moment you begin to see your experiences as fuel for your growth, you no longer see yourself as broken. You see yourself as building. You begin to honor your journey, not hide from it. You start using everything you've lived through as evidence that you can survive, rebuild, and rise again. And that is where true transformation begins. Letting go to move forward is one of the most powerful and necessary decisions anyone can make in life. So many people remain stuck, not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they refuse to release what is no longer meant for them. The weight of old stories, past relationships, guilt, disappointment, and unresolved anger quietly holds them back. Even when everything around them says it's time to move forward, they stay chained to what was, afraid of who they might become without it. But the truth is, no real growth can happen without release. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending it didn't matter or acting like you were never hurt. It means choosing your future over your history. It means refusing to allow your past to be the loudest voice in your life. It means setting yourself free from thoughts that no longer support who you are becoming. Growth demands space, and space is created when you stop clinging to what no longer serves you. Sometimes we don't even realize how tightly we're holding on until we try to move forward and feel resistance. That resistance might come in the form of fear, hesitation, or excuses. You tell yourself you're not ready yet, that maybe someday you'll feel stronger, more confident, more healed, but someday never comes until you make a choice. Letting go is not an external event, it's an internal decision. It's standing in front of your pain and saying, you've taught me all I needed to learn, and now I release you. People hold on to pain for different reasons. Some do it because they believe it protects them from future hurt. Some carry it because it feels familiar, even when it's destructive. Some think that if they let go of a person or an experience, it means they're letting go of a part of themselves. But in reality, letting go is an act of self-respect. It says, I am more important than this memory, this mistake, or this attachment. It is not selfish, it's necessary. Letting go might mean removing yourself from certain environments, walking away from toxic relationships, or shedding limiting beliefs you've carried for years. It might mean forgiving someone who never apologized, or forgiving yourself for not knowing better in the past. The forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. It clears the emotional fog so you can see the path ahead more clearly. As long as you carry resentment, regret, or unresolved wounds, you're walking forward while looking backward. And that is how people trip, fall, and stay stuck. The hardest things to let go of are often the ones tied to your identity. Maybe you've always seen yourself as the person who was abandoned, or the one who always had to be strong, or the one who never succeeded. These stories become part of how you see yourself. But just because something was true once doesn't mean it has to stay true forever. You can change the story. You can let go of the identity that came from pain and step into the one built on possibility. But first, you must be willing to leave behind what no longer aligns with who you want to become. Letting go also means accepting what cannot be changed. There are things in life you will never get closure on, questions that will never be answered, words that will never be spoken, people who will never return. The more you wait for the past to explain itself, the longer you stay in limbo. But you don't need all the answers to move forward. You only need the courage to say, I don't have to understand everything to move beyond it. That's the power of emotional maturity, choosing peace over explanation. You are not weak for holding on, it's human. But you are strong when you choose to release. There is strength in surrender, not the kind that means giving up, but the kind that says, I trust there's more waiting for me ahead than anything I'm leaving behind. That mindset doesn't come overnight. It grows every time you choose to stop replaying the past and start creating the future. Letting go is a form of healing. It's a declaration that you are no longer willing to let pain rule your present or predict your future. And once you make that choice, even if it's scary, even if it's hard, you'll discover the kind of freedom that can't be given by anyone else, only by yourself. Progress requires discomfort, and that's the reality most people try to avoid. Comfort is familiar, easy, and safe. It doesn't ask much of you. It lets you stay in your routines, your habits, your known patterns, even if those patterns are slowly suffocating your growth. Discomfort, on the other hand, demands your attention. It challenges you. It forces you to confront the parts of yourself that you'd rather ignore. But the truth is, nothing meaningful ever grows in a comfort zone. Every transformation, every breakthrough, every real change begins with discomfort. We live in a world that sells comfort as success. A bigger house, a softer bed, a quieter life. And while rest and ease have their place, they are not where strength is built. Strength is forged in resistance. It's developed through moments of fear, doubt, failure, and uncertainty. When you're willing to sit with the discomfort, to feel the tension without running, you begin to build the mental and emotional muscles that carry you through life. It's not the avoidance of struggle that makes people strong. It's their willingness to face it head on. Progress requires you to do things you don't feel ready for. It requires you to have conversations you've been avoiding, take risks that terrify you, and leave behind habits that have become a part of your identity. It asks you to change your language from I can't to I will try, from what if I fail to what if this is the beginning. That shift doesn't happen overnight. It happens in the small, quiet moments when you choose courage over comfort. And those small decisions build momentum, and that momentum becomes transformation. Discomfort also reveals what you truly believe about yourself. When things get hard, do you quit? Do you shrink? Do you hide? Or do you remind yourself why you started? Do you dig deeper and find another level within you? Because it's in the discomfort that your real values are tested. Anyone can chase a goal when it's exciting, but what about when it's boring, repetitive, painful, or uncertain? That's when discipline is born. That's when character is formed. That's when you earn your next level. There's also a different kind of discomfort, the kind that comes from growth. It's not loud or chaotic, it's subtle. It's the quiet ache of becoming someone new. The stretch of your comfort zone expanding. The tension of breaking old habits and creating new ones. It doesn't feel like success at first. It feels awkward, unfamiliar, even lonely, but it's a sign that you're moving forward. Real progress feels strange because you're no longer living in patterns your brain has memorized. You're building a new path, and that takes energy, it takes patience, and it takes faith in what you're becoming. And many people turn back when they feel discomfort, thinking it's a sign to stop. But discomfort is not a red light, it's a green light. It means you're stepping outside of who you were. It means you're touching the edge of your potential. If you only ever do what's comfortable, you'll only ever get what you already have. But if you're willing to be uncomfortable for a while, you can create a life that feels aligned, fulfilled, and deeply alive. It's important to remember that discomfort is temporary, but the rewards are lasting. You may feel fear now, but that fear will evolve into confidence. You may feel doubt now, but that doubt will transform into clarity. The struggle of growth today becomes the strength of tomorrow. Every time you push through the resistance, you expand your capacity. You begin to trust yourself. You start to realize that fear isn't a stop sign, it's a doorway, and only those willing to step through it ever discover what's on the other side. So when discomfort comes, don't run, don't numb it, don't distract yourself from it, lean in, let it teach you, let it stretch you, let it mold you into the version of yourself that you haven't met yet, the version that is stronger, wiser, bolder, and more capable than you imagine. Because the life you want, the purpose you seek, the person you're meant to become, none of it lives in comfort. It all lives just beyond it. Forgiveness is a form of freedom. Most people think forgiveness is a gift you give to someone else, especially to someone who hurt you, betrayed you, or failed you. But the deeper truth is that forgiveness is something you give to yourself. It is a decision to stop carrying the burden of what someone else did, to stop letting it define your present and control your emotions. It's not about erasing the past or pretending the pain didn't happen. It's about releasing yourself from its grip so you can finally move forward without the chains of resentment or bitterness. Holding on to anger, blame, or guilt can feel powerful at first. It gives you a sense of control, but over time, it turns into poison, slow, silent, and suffocating. You might think you're protecting yourself by not forgiving, but you're actually keeping yourself stuck in a cycle of pain. Every time you replay what happened, every time you imagine different outcomes or wish you'd done something else, you're opening wounds that can't heal in a hostile mind. Forgiveness doesn't say what happened was okay. It says, I'm done letting it control me. Forgiving others is often difficult because it feels like letting them off the hook. But forgiveness isn't about them, it's about you. It's not saying they were right or that justice doesn't matter. It's saying that your peace matters more than carrying the weight of what someone else did. You can forgive and still walk away. You can forgive and never speak to them again. Forgiveness is not reconciliation. It's not always about restoring a relationship. It's about restoring your own spirit, your own clarity, your own life. But just as important is learning to forgive yourself. So many people are prisoners of their past decisions. They carry shame for the choices they made when they were younger, less aware, more broken. They beat themselves up over things they cannot change. But shame is not a teacher, it's a thief. It robs you of confidence, courage, and progress. You must learn to offer yourself the same compassion you'd give to someone you love. You are not the same person you were back then. You've grown, you've learned, and you're trying to do better now. That's what matters. Self-forgiveness is not weakness, it's the beginning of healing. It's allowing yourself to be human, to accept that you've made mistakes, but that those mistakes are not your identity. You are not your worst moments. You are not the worst thing you've done. You are what you do next. Forgiveness creates space for that next step. It gives you the emotional room to choose new actions, new thoughts, new beliefs about who you are and who you're becoming. Some people wait for others to apologize before they forgive. They wait for closure that may never come. But forgiveness is not something you wait to be given, it's something you choose. If you keep waiting for someone else to make it right, you're giving them power over your peace. You don't need their apology to set yourself free. You can decide right now that you are done holding on to the pain, the anger, the need for revenge, not because they deserve it, but because you do. Forgiveness also doesn't happen all at once. Sometimes you'll think you've let it go only to feel the sting again when a memory surfaces or a trigger appears. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means healing is a process. Every time you choose peace over pain, love over bitterness, release over control, you're deepening your forgiveness. It's like peeling back layers until the wound no longer bleeds when touched. And with each layer, you gain more of yourself back. Choosing forgiveness doesn't mean you'll never feel pain again. It means that pain no longer gets to dominate your thoughts or dictate your future. It means that you're rewriting the story, not erasing it, but retelling it from a place of strength instead of suffering. Forgiveness reclaims your energy. It allows joy, clarity, and purpose to return. It puts the power back in your hands where it always belonged. The longer you hold on to what hurt you, the more you delay what could heal you. And forgiveness, whether for others or yourself, is the first step toward that healing. It's not the end of the journey, but it clears the path so you can finally take the next one. Daily action builds your new life. Most people dream of transformation as if it happens in one dramatic moment, a big decision, a sudden breakthrough, a magical opportunity that shifts everything. But that's not how real change works. Real change is built in the small, unseen decisions you make every single day. It's not the one-time burst of motivation that changes your life. It's what you do when no one's watching, when you're tired, when you're unsure, when it's uncomfortable, when the results haven't shown up yet, but you keep showing up anyway. People often underestimate the power of daily habits because they don't provide instant results. You eat healthy for a week and the mirror doesn't change. You work hard for a month and the bank account still looks the same. You read one book and your mindset still struggles. But that's how building works. It takes time, repetition, and patience. Every great structure starts with laying bricks, one at a time. Some days you lay more, some days you just manage one, but each brick matters. Skipping one day might seem harmless, but do it long enough and the foundation starts to crack. The key to creating a new life isn't intensity, it's consistency. Motivation fades, but discipline stays. Discipline says, I'll do it anyway, even when the feelings aren't there, even when the results haven't come yet, even when the old habits are calling you back. You build your new life when you stop letting emotion decide your effort. Consistency isn't glamorous. It's early mornings, quiet evenings, missed parties, and showing up when nobody claps. But it's how you build self-respect, trust in yourself, and visible results over time. Progress is not always loud. It often happens in silence. It happens when you choose to say no to distractions. It happens when you stay focused while everyone else is chasing comfort. It happens when you repeat a small routine until it becomes a lifestyle. Every time you choose your vision over your comfort, you cast a vote for your future self. And those votes add up. They become momentum. They become identity. You don't just do the habit, you become the kind of person who lives the habit. Some people get overwhelmed by the big picture of what they want to achieve. They think too far ahead and feel paralyzed by how much needs to be done. But the big life you want is not one giant leap away. It's a series of small, repeated steps. Break it down. Focus on what you can control today. What can you do this morning that moves you an inch closer to the person you want to be? Maybe it's waking up earlier. Maybe it's walking instead of scrolling. Maybe it's reaching out to someone who inspires you. Those tiny actions compound. Your habits shape your mindset. They tell your brain who you are. When you repeatedly act with discipline, even in small ways, your self-present shifts. You stop seeing yourself as someone who's stuck and start believing that you're capable of more. And that belief fuels more action. It's a cycle. Positive habits feed confidence, and confidence fuels more progress. But it all begins with doing something, anything, today. Waiting for the perfect plan is just a clever form of procrastination. You also need to protect your energy from distractions disguised as opportunities. Not everything is worth your time. Not every invitation deserves your attention. When you're building a new life, you need to be ruthless about focus. That might mean disappointing people. That might mean being misunderstood. But you weren't born to live a life based on pleasing others. You were born to build a life aligned with who you are and who you want to become. And that requires saying yes to the right actions and no to everything that slows you down. There will be days when you feel like your effort isn't working, days when progress feels invisible. That's when most people quit. But what you do on the hard days matters more than what you do when you're motivated. Growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. It happens when you act even when you don't feel like it. That's where strength is built. That's where habits become unbreakable. That's where your new life begins. Not in a perfect plan, but in imperfect, daily, consistent action. Believe in your power to become more. Everything begins with belief. Not in what the world says about you, not in what others expect from you, but in what you decide is possible for yourself. Most people limit their growth because they don't truly believe they can change. They carry outdated labels, past failures, and critical voices in their head, mistaking them for truth. But the truth is, you are not fixed. You are not finished. You are constantly becoming. And the direction of that transformation starts with what you believe about your worth, your potential, and your future. You don't have to see the full path to take the first step. What you need is the belief that you are capable of becoming something greater than what you currently are. Not because you're broken now, but because you're designed to grow. It's built into your biology. Your brain is wired to change through repetition. Your habits can be reshaped. Your mindset can evolve. Your life can shift. But none of that happens unless you believe it's possible. Belief is the root. From it grows action, and from action comes evidence. That evidence then strengthens your belief. It's a cycle that builds momentum, but it all starts with that first belief. Many people wait for proof before they believe in themselves. They wait until the weight is lost, the money is made, the business succeeds, the validation arrives, but that's backward. The belief must come first. You must decide to believe even when there's no sign of success yet. You must act like the person you want to become even when the world hasn't noticed. That's not delusion, it's discipline, it's vision, it's courage. When you believe in who you're becoming, you make decisions based on that identity, not on who you've been. Belief changes how you show up. It shifts your posture, your tone, your effort, and your presence. When you believe you belong in the room, you speak differently. When you believe you can succeed, you keep going even when it gets hard. When you believe you're worthy, you stop chasing people who don't value you. The internal belief changes the external reality. And yes, that belief will be tested. Life will throw doubt your way. Challenges will rise. Critics will speak. But belief is not about ignoring reality. It's about choosing the version of reality that empowers you to act. Believing in your power to become more doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means you move forward despite fear. It means you don't wait until you feel completely ready because you understand that growth is messy and readiness is a lie we tell ourselves to delay progress. You take risks, you fall, you learn, and each time you get back up, that belief grows a little stronger. Not because it got easier, but because you got better. You gained evidence. You realized that yes, you can survive disappointment, you can grow through failure, and you can adapt to change. This belief must be fed. You can't just plant it once and hope it survives. You feed it by the words you speak to yourself. You feed it by the environments you put yourself in. You feed it by the people you allow close to you. Surround yourself with those who remind you of your strength, not your limits. Fill your mind with books, voices, and thoughts that lift your perspective. Protect your energy from those who make you shrink. Your belief is sacred. It shapes how high you'll climb, how far you'll go, and how deeply you'll live. It's also important to stop waiting to feel confident before you act. Confidence doesn't come first. Courage does. Confidence is a result of belief and action combined. You might start out shaking, unsure, doubting. That's okay. Take the step anyway. Push forward anyway. Belief isn't about never having doubts. It's about not letting those doubts dictate your behavior. Every time you act in alignment with your potential, you strengthen that inner conviction. It becomes a quiet, unshakable truth. I may not be there yet, but I am becoming. Believing in your power to become more means giving yourself permission to dream again, to imagine a version of yourself that is stronger, wiser, kinder, freer. and then to act on behalf of that vision daily, because you are not your past and you are not stuck. You are in motion. You are evolving. And the deeper your belief, the bigger your capacity to rise.